Hello and welcome to Glasgow 2024 Presents Meet the Author. I'm PS Livingstone, Area Head for Glasgow 2024 Presents, and today we are interviewing Dan Fitzgerald. Hello, Dan.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm good yourself?
I'm hanging in there.
Very good. Okay, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself before we get into our deep dive questions?
Yeah, I'm Dan Fitzgerald. I started out as a fantasy author and drifted toward a romantic fantasy, and now I write fantasy romance, smuttier and smuttier as we go.
Excellent. We love the spice.
Yes.
So, you want to tell us a little bit about the books that you've got?
The first three are the Maer Cycle, sort of classic fantasy with a little tiny bit of spice in there. The next two are the Weirdwater Confluence, so I call it sword-free fantasy with meditation magic. The Living Waters, which I'll show you the cover for here, which it'll get
Ooh,
filtered out.
I love
Living
that. I
Waters,
love that cover. I remember you
yeah,
revealing
it's my
that on
favorite.
Twitter. It was great.
And then the Isle of a Thousand Worlds, which is also an interesting
Mm.
cover. Both were done by the same artist, Karki. Anyway, those are weird books because they have meditation magic and no swords and no death. And then the most recent one, my first entirely self-published one, The Delve, which you can see the background behind me. And this is, I call it a spicy dungeon crawl, like super smutty, super bloody, very romantic. It's a lot of fun, short and just kind of violent as hell.
And what sounds right up my alley anyway. So I shall be checking that out.
Right
Okay,
on.
so what we're going to do is to ask our 10 questions now.
I'm ready.
You're ready? You may pass on one single question, but only one. So if you're worried about anything, you might want to save it to the end. Okay. And I may ask a couple of cheeky little follow-ups while we're at it.
Okay.
Okay, so first one, nice and easy. Where are you based?
I'm in Washington, D.C., capital of the U.S.
It's a beautiful city. My sister lived there for a while. I thought it was gorgeous. Question number two. What is your experience or your impression of Scotland?
I visited my sister in Scotland in 1997. She lived in Glasgow. And my primary experience was she took me to all the gay bars. So I saw only the gay bars in Glasgow, and it was amazing. It was impossible for me to buy a pint because everybody bought me pints and pint after pint after pint. I will also say that I also saw a fair number of fish and chip stands. So gay bars and fish and chip stands. That was my impression of Glasgow. Also, I remember there being a lot of cigarettes and iron brew.
Less cigarettes now, still a lot of iron brew, fish and chips, and gay bars. So,
Yes.
was Club X there when you visited?
I
That
have
was.
only the blurriest drunkenness memory of where exactly we went. I also saw the Edinburgh Castle, which is nice. And the other thing is that in the train, I had no idea what cities we were passing by because the announcer would say like some unintelligible series of syllables, and I would be looking at the list of stops, and I'd be like, I have no idea what city he just announced that we passed by, but hopefully it wasn't the one that I'm trying to get off at.
Okay, question number three. Give us the elevator pitch for your book. Pick whichever one you like, and two handfuls of words, which we estimate to be 10. If you go a little
Okay,
under or over, it's okay.
I'm gonna pitch my next book if I may.
Worse?
Okay, it's Unpainted. The elevator pitch is arranged marriage between painted face nobles, a tropical honeymoon with mind control magic and magical currency.
Very cool.
Uh, so 10 words would be uh, knives, blood, flowers, femdom, uh, sex, 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 more sex,
Three more words, you only got one left.
love.
Okay, very nice. So I'm feeling there's kind of an emphasis on, the love there. No.
Yeah,
So
it's
no,
but
it's
I mean
great.
it's more steamy than smutty, that one.
Good. Okay. No, I'm here for all of it. Question number four. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip,
Oh,
100%.
no
Especially
hesitation.
especially if you put it in root beer to make a float. Can't beat it.
Oh, mini choc chip and root beer, really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's surprisingly great because root
Okay.
beer actually has wintergreen in it. And so like there's a mint sort of crossover just built in.
Okay. I'm testing that out and coming back with my reports. Question 5. Who is your main character? Again, feel free to pick whichever book you want to talk about.
I'll talk about Iglin from the Delve. Iglin is kind of an asshole, and the book is an asshole redemption arc of sorts.
Hmm.
Yeah, he's a knight who gets sent on a sort of a quest to figure out why this mine went dark that has an important mineral that they rely on, and he takes it as a personal, like, his manhood is in question, and he's got to get it done, but he's just such a dick, really. At the beginning, he's a dick, and he gets to be less of a dick as he goes on.
Hmm. And he's redeemed from his dictum by the end.
I think somewhat, yeah, for sure. But Iglin's going to Iglin. But at the end, he definitely Iglin's a lot less.
Okay. So you should put that on the cover.
Well, I mean, the subtitle of the book is "The Sword Wants What It Wants," because
Hmm.
it's all about his sword, but like also like his dick, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that sounds again like a book I definitely want to read. All right. Question number 6. And this is a very serious question.
Okay,
Okay. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Star Trek.
Oh,
Uh, T,
again, really confident.
yeah, TNG especially.
Mm.
I like some of the new shows. Like I enjoy the incredible, like, flourishing of like queer characters, like just trying new stuff. Like I don't think all of it is equally perfectly done, and there are some issues with it. But TNG, 100%. Any Star Trek over any Star Wars for me. Although I do like the OG Star Wars trilogy quite a lot. And I mean,
Hmm.
it's all good, but yeah.
Okay. Good. I like the confidence. Question number 7. Have you attended a Worldcon before?
I have not. I've only kind of ever attended as Gen Con a number of times when I was younger.
Okay. Well, I'm going to expand that one then because you haven't been before. Are you intending to come to Glasgow 2024?
I don't think so because we're going to be no, we are going to Europe this summer, and I know because we're going to Switzerland for my sister-in-law's 50th, and I know
Oh,
we can't
wow.
afford to go to Europe 2 years in a row. How many people come to the con on average every year?
Well, I mean, it's really varied. I think, Dublin had about maybe 7,000. I know that Chengdu this year they're looking at maybe up to 20,000, but I think that's kind of unheard of for a World Con, to be honest. I think that's in part because China's not hosted one before, and it's a really big deal. So I would say 7,000-8,000 is a really respectable number. It's a good chunk. I mean, it's not like the few hundred or thousand you might see at a local con. It's on another level, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to give this some serious thought because I haven't been to a con since I've been an author. Even though I live in a city where it occasionally has cons, and I feel like I need to change that. So I don't know. I don't know if Glasgow 2024 is the one, but um,
Oh,
I've
the World Fantasy Con is going to be in Birmingham in 2025. So
interesting.
it's not Scotland, but it's the UK. It's still good.
That was very generous.
It sounded quite begrudging, didn't it? I should work on that.
No, you did great.
Thanks. Okay, well, we hope to see you at some point. If you can make it over, do some serious thinking, and buy all Dan's books so you can afford to come to Worldcon. Question number 8. What inspires or inspired you to write?
A lot of it started from my reading and also from playing Dungeons and Dragons, honestly. But now that I'm writing romance, I think, just discovering romance and fantasy romance in particular, opened my eyes to a lot of things. Like when I started getting back into fantasy, I was like, what should I read? And a bunch of people like shoved a bunch of, fantasy books written by the old white men, and there's a lot of great
Mm.
fantasy books written by old white men. I don't mean to get them down. I'm kind of one myself, but there's also a lot of fantasy books written by a lot of people, and so I started discovering, especially in indie fantasy, all these books that are very different than what I'd read. And the farther away I got away from classic fantasy, the more I discovered romance in the fantasy, and Crystal Matar, Legacy of the Brightwash, a bunch of
Mm.
like Angela Bourd's books, and um, other, fantasy romance and romantic fantasy. So like that really inspired me. That whole group of indie romantasy writers inspired me and pushed me forward into what I'm writing now. So I have like 4 fantasy romances coming out this year, and I'm super jazzed about the queer indie fantasy romance. Not only indie, but especially indie.
Yeah.
The scene right now is really hot.
No, it definitely is, and I think the fact that Spiffbo, winners are starting to be like
Yes,
what they call
yes,
kissing books, is a
yes.
wonderful thing.
I
And
love
yeah,
it.
I love it too, and I
Yes,
like to see it getting that kind of acclaim, because it deserves it. And writing good romance, whether it's steamy or whether it's not, is hard.
yes, for sure.
And I think it needs a lot more recognition. So,
Yes.
and I love how much you love it. I can see it in your face and in your voice. You hear it in your voice, and you're just like, oh, yeah, this is it. And it's lovely that you're inspired by people around you as well, which is,
For sure.
it's not just some kind of Lord of the Rings. I still love it, but however many years ago, and it's not that you're inspired by the people around you writing today, and I think that's great.
Right. And I mean, there's a ton of fantastic non-romantic fantasy being written
Oh
out
yeah,
there, and there's no shade on it. Like it's doing great. Like more power to more diversity of all kinds in fantasy.
100%. So great. Oh, thank you. That was a good answer. I like that one. Question 9. What is your favorite band or music?
I am listening to 100% French music nowadays.
Okay.
Claire, so I'll say it in an anglicized way. Clara Luciani or Clara Luciani is one of my favorites, and an artist called Pomme, as in apple. Those are my 2 tops. Christine and the Queens is really great, and a bunch of others. When I was listening to music in English, Elvis Costello is a longtime favorite. Queen is a longtime favorite. And some classic rock generally. I tend to like hone in on one band or one artist and just like listen to them to death. But I've been very into like French femme voices, I would say, is my all of my playlists for the past few years. I'm just like super, super into these soft voices. I don't know. I get
Mm.
something out of it. It just moves my soul somehow. So that's what I'm listening
Do you
to
think it
100%.
influences your writing as well? Do you think?
I don't know. Like, I feel like there's like a gender mood in the music that it's almost like the quality of the voice as much as anything else, but also the mood of the music. And I think that there's something that my heart needs in that. And I think that that's related to a mood that I'm seeking in my writing as well.
Hmm.
So, because I'm writing a lot of sort of gender bendy, fluid kind of stories with a little bit more of a femme leading uh, aspect to them. And I think the type of music that I'm listening to, I'm seeking it out because I'm trying to immerse myself in this, both in my fiction and in my music and just in life generally.
Hmm. Okay, that's really interesting. So I've got one quick follow up on that. Do you listen to music while you write?
No, not at
No.
all. I need a silence or a white noise, like dishwasher
Hmm.
or fan or something.
No, no, I'm 100% the same, but I know some people can do both. I can't.
Yes, people
No
make whole
thinking and chewing
playlists. I
gum.
think that's cool. My sister did an entire graduate program while in loud bars. Like she needed the background noise of talking and music and everything to concentrate. On the exact opposite.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. I'll just start writing lyrics down that are from the song. Like, oh, okay, no, that's not going to work. Bit
Yeah.
of plagiarism there. Okay, last question, number 10. What are you writing now, or what are you writing next?
So I'm currently I'm editing the second 2 books in the time before trio. So I've mentioned Unpainted, which is unrelated. That's vaguely connected to Living Waters. It's a standalone romance. Editing Wings So Soft, which is a fantasy romance with an owl theme. It's like an owl handler, sort of falling in love with an artificer who makes artificial owls. And these are all set like 2,000 years before the Maer Cycle, and the same time frame as the Delve. And then Cloti Song, which is another book in that series, is kind of a poly romance set. They're all set basically as the Maer, which is the hairy humanoids in my Maer Cycle, as they're losing a war to the humans. So each book, the war is going worse. And in Cloti Song, the city they've lost the war and their city's occupied, and they're just like trying to figure out like, are we going to be exterminated or are we going to what's going to happen? So they're like clinging to each other as the city is occupied, and some of their population is in camps. So they don't really know what's going on. So that's those three, and then I've got another one which is this dungeon crawler romance, similar to the Dell but more romance. And then I have another one that I'm kind of haven't started yet. Those are all in editing, and one that I haven't started yet, which is going to be another Weirdwater romance. So in the same world as Living Waters, which will be a trans femme romance, but I haven't started writing it. I'm just in the conceptual stage. So four in editing, one in yes, and I have another one that I started drafting. It's a cephalopod romance. So two cephalopods, one of which in this species, the female is like 100 times bigger than the male. And that's all you can need to know about it. It's about 20% drafted.
No, I think I'm going to need a lot more to know more about that. I
Oh my
don't think
God.
we can leave that hanging.
Okay, well, so I could tell you that when they mate for life, and the male attaches and becomes part of the female's body. So in the same way that anglerfish do. Mm-hmm. So the love story will essentially is that process.
Wow.
But it's set against a lot of other stuff. Yeah. I'm only a little way through the story, but there's like environmental weirdness going on because their ecosystem has been disrupted, so they're looking for a safe place to go so they can finalize their process.
Wow,
but
okay.
they get a little gill action along the way, so like it's a little sexy.
Okay, well listen, that's our 10 questions. Dan, thank you so much. That was absolutely brilliant. If you'd like to find out more about Dan, we'll have all of his details in the description below, so you can follow him on social media, website. Oh, there she's back. If you want to find more about my cat, you can see me moan about her on Twitter. But more importantly, check out all of Dan's details below, where you can buy his books. And please check out all of our other Meet the Author videos. Thank you, Dan, so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It's been a blast. I really appreciate you having me.
Thanks. Bye.
All right. Take care.
Thank you for watching Glasgow 2024 Presents Meet the Author with Dan Fitzgerald. You can find more Meet the Author interviews on the Glasgow 2024 YouTube channel, along with our indie author reading library and recordings of previous Glasgow 2024 Presents panels. Find us at our website at glasgow2024.org and as Glasgow in 2024 on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. You can buy cool merch on our Redbubble shop, which is redbubble.com/people/Glasgow 2024/shop. And if you'd like to volunteer for Glasgow 2024, you can email us at volunteers@glasgow2024.org. Thanks.